Hi, and welcome back after that very long flight. You know, from Switzerland, it took us about 24 hours, so one whole day to get basically to the other side of the world where we wanted to go to end up in Australia. This is the last video I want to share with you, and if you feel like, oh no, but I like these yoga videos so much, I want to do more yoga, this is great because I will show you how you can create your own yoga stories today. Okay, so you have learned quite a few postures, quite a few animals, the mountain, the trees, a tunnel, cycling and so on. And I'll show you a few more animal poses today. That's why we are in Australia. I'm going to show you lots of animals that some of them only live in Australia. And from all these animals and things that you know, you can create your own story. And I'll show you how that works. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. Shall we try? So every yoga story starts with 3 balloon breaths. So 3 very deep breaths, especially after flying for 24 hours. It's good to have a few deep breaths and stretch properly. So you'll sit down on your mat. You can use a block if you like to. And then we'll start with 3 balloon breaths. You can put your fingers on the ground and then inhale through your nose, like inflating a big balloon, and exhale out again through your nose. In one more time. Out through your nose. That's 2. And 1 more. And out. And that's something you can do before every yoga story, just to get enough breath and energy to go through your yoga story and be prepared for whatever is about to come. Now, I've told you about a few animals, and for those of you who are in Australia now watching this video, you might be a bit more familiar with these animals already. For all the rest of us, you know that there are 2 species that are, or most of the most poisonous species, they do live in Australia. And one we got to know already, which is the snake, and one of the other one, which is a lot smaller, but nonetheless can be very poisonous. It has 8 legs. Yes, you're right. That's the spider. I'll show you how the spider works when you're by yourself and not with a partner. You can stand pretty wide with your legs and then sit down as if you're sitting on a chair and put your hands behind you. You can point the fingers away from you and then wiggle your tail up and down as if you want to make a spider web. So wiggle your tail up and down and creating a beautiful spider web. And you can even stretch your legs a bit more if you have that flexibility, a little bit more to finish the spider web, and then back on all 4s on your mat. One of my favorite animals in Australia, just because it's so cute and kind of fluffy, looks like a little bear. It's not actually a bear, but it looks a bit like one of them, is this one. Do you know what that is? It's called a wombat. And the wombat has a very particular and funny way of walking, and we'll try and imitate that now. So if you get on all 4s, you can try and walk and always like across. So you move your left hand in your right leg and your right hand in the left leg. And always crossing midline. So one hand, one leg the other side, and the other way around. So basically your hands and feet on the one side always come very close to each other. Try and keep your buttocks in the air and make a few Bombad, wobbly, comfortable, no, not comfortable, Bombad walks through your room and back on the mat. Then another amazing natural phenomenon that we can find in Australia is further up the east coast, and it's out in the sea, and it's called the Great Barrier Reef. It's a very big, I think it's actually the biggest reef in the world, but I'm not too sure about that. And there's lots of colorful corals and all sorts of fish and millions of animals. And one of those fish that live there looks, for example, like this. And I'll show you how the fish pose is in yoga. You can sit on the mat. You can take your knees and your feet about as wide as the mat, and then sit with your bum in between your legs. And then slowly you can go down with your back, first on your elbows, and then if you're flexible enough, you can go a little bit further down until your head and maybe your back and shoulders touch the ground. Breathe in and out through your nose. Make sure your knees don't lift off the ground. And only go as far as you can still breathe comfortably through your nose. To get out of that fish position, tuck your chin towards the chest, and then slowly push yourself back up on your knees. For all the parents, take it easy on that posture and maybe don't go too far. Maybe it's enough on your elbows or even on your hands. There's another animal I'd like to introduce to you, and it's a very, very important animal in the whole world, not just in Australia, in every country actually, on every continent, in every country. We are very much dependent on that animal because it's responsible for the regrowth of all the plants. If we don't have that animal, if we didn't have it, we wouldn't have anything to eat. And you might know by now what that animal is. It's the bee, the very busy bee. And you might have contemplated a bee when it's flying, so you can sit on your heels and then spread your bee wings and start moving these wings very fast, because if you look at a bee when it's flying, you can hardly see the wings because it's moving the wings so quickly. So try and move them up and down and breathe in through your nose, and then bzzz, in, bzzz, to the buzzing bee, bzzz, very fast with your arms, quickly move. Bzzz, one more. Bzzz. Okay. One deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose again. Another fascinating insect that we have almost all over the world is, I've showed you once before in another video. It looks like this. It's got wings and it can fly like a butterfly. Yeah, you remember? You know what the butterfly is or was before it becomes a butterfly. Yes, exactly. It's a caterpillar and it's in a cocoon before it actually comes out as a beautiful butterfly. So the caterpillar wraps itself up in a cocoon and then comes out as a beautiful butterfly. And we'll try and do the same transformation ourselves now. So you curl up on your back as if you're in a cocoon. So make yourself really small and tight and pack yourself into that cocoon, and then you breathe in through your nose and out. And with the next inhalation, stretch your legs and your arms, go to the side, exhale, back into your cocoon. Inhale, open up, push through the cocoon, exhale, back in again. Inhale, open up, exhale. 3 more, in, out, 1, inhale, 2, exhale, 2, last one, breathe in, and breathe out. And then push yourself properly out of that cocoon so you can roll up and down your spine, and make sure you pop out of the cocoon, and then you can fly like a butterfly in the sky. So we'll do the butterfly pose again. Make sure your back is straight, and then flap your wings on the side. Fly like a butterfly wherever you want to go. Because then if you fly up high in the sky and you look down at that beautiful countryside in Australia, you will see an animal that's very famous for Australia and that lives only in Australia. It's got like I have a little pocket here on my chest. That animal's got a big pocket here on the belly. It's got a big, strong tail and very strong back legs. And the newlyborns, they carried in that little pocket here. You know already what I'm talking about, don't you? Exactly, the kangaroo. And now let's hop around the room just like a kangaroo. So get on your back legs. Your hands are like the ones of a kangaroo, and then jump, and always go down again, jump, jump, jump. Strong back legs, jumping like a kangaroo. And another round through your room, jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump back on the mat. One or two deep breaths in and out through your nose to get some air, so I can explain that last animal to you. And I was a bit surprised when I found out that these animals also live in Australia. They live very far down south in a state called Victoria, and there's an island which is called Phillip Island, and on that island you can find penguin colonies. And you might have seen penguins before. Every day they start walking around in a parade, and it's a very funny particular way how they are walking. And we'll try this. It's not a very easy exercise to walk like a penguin. I'm still struggling, but I'm trying to show you, and we can practice together, and maybe eventually you can do 3, 4, 5 steps just like a penguin. So you can grab your ankles with your hands, and then you're walking on your knees. Try and focus one point in front of you. Then walk. Oh, you see, it's not easy. Walk like a penguin. So this needs a bit of practice. We'll do it again. Maybe you can try it on a carpet or out in the garden in the grass, so it's not so hard on your knees. You see, that needs a lot of practice. So maybe you can do 3, 4, 5 or even 10 of those penguin steps. Okay, so you see now, by starting with 3 balloon breaths, you can come up with any yoga story that you like. You got to know so many animals now, you got to know any, like so many postures. You can combine the yoga mountain, take it to Tomorrowland and combine it with Emma and all sorts of animals that you like. So there's no limitations to your fantasy. Come up with any story that you like. After every yoga story, it's important to relax. And I'll show you one way of relaxing now. I don't know if you're aware that you have a magic submarine in your big toe. Did you know? Come lay on your back. I'll tell you a little story about that magic submarine in your big toe. It's either, I think most of us have it in the right big toe, sometimes it's also in the left. If you don't know the difference between left and right, not a big deal. We'll go and find the submarine in the whole body. So you can lay on your back and relax as if you're lying in your bed, on your back. Make a bit of space between your arms and your rib cage. Your feet are falling to the side. You can close your eyes and breathe in deeply through your nose. And now try not to move any parts of your body while I'm guiding you through your body in that magical submarine. So imagine you have that submarine parked in your big toe of your one foot, and that magic submarine has a magic laser light that it can heal any aches and pains with. So we're first going to scan through the whole body, and at the end you have the opportunity to send that magic submarine to any places in your body that need healing. So imagine that submarine in your big toe, how we're starting it, reversing it out of its garage, and then we go along the soles of the sole of your feet, or your one foot, to your heel, past the ankle, up your lower leg, to your knee, your thighs, past your hips, and then up your belly, to your chest, up your throat, over your face, and then back down over your scalp and the back of your head, to your neck, your shoulders, and it's going down the one arm on the outside of your arm. It's actually going down at the inside of your arm, sorry. So down on the inside of your arm, to the arm fold, down your lower arm, to your palms and all your fingers, your thumb, and then back up your arm at the outside of your arm, over your elbow, back of your upper arm to your shoulder, and straight down on the inside of the other arm to your lower arms, palms, all the fingers, thumb, and then back up on the outer side of your arm, past elbow, upper arm, back to your shoulder, and all the way down along your spine, to your bum, and then back down the other leg where you haven't been yet, down your thigh, past your knee, lower leg, soles of your feet, all your toes, and then back into the big toe. And now you can take that magic submarine and imagine it going to any place in your body where you feel that there's an ache or a pain, where you feel like, I need healing. Maybe you have a bruise because you fell on your knee, maybe you have a headache, maybe you twisted your whatever hurts, wherever there's pain or aches, you can send your magic submarine there, and as soon as you've reached that place in your body that needs healing, you can start with sending out that healing red laser light and shine it on these places in your body that need healing. And feel how it's healing bad aches and pains. It's that soothing, healing red light, that magical laser light that can heal all your wounds. And when you think it's enough, you can bring that magic submarine back down to your big toe and put it into the garage. You can anytime go get that submarine and send those magic laser lights to any place in your body that you need. But you can park it for now. Now take a deep breath in through your nose. Feel your belly rise, and then out through your nose, belly back towards the spine. And start wiggling your fingers and your toes. Start making circles with your hands and your feet. Circles the other way. And you can pull your knees towards your chest and roll up and down your spine to come into a seated position. So you see, this was one way of relaxing after a yoga adventure. You can also just lay down for a minute or two and observe your breath. Feel how your breath is tickling on the tip of your nose, going in with cool air when you breathe in and coming out with a bit warmer air when you breathe out. Or always come back to the magic submarine. The next step, which is really fun, is meditation. You might have heard of meditation, you might have never heard of it. Meditation is basically another word for a very, very intense concentration. So you focus on something very, very much. And I'll show you one way of a fun meditation that you can release unwanted thoughts or feelings. So if there's anything that you want to release, like a thought or a feeling, maybe like, for example, I had a bit of an argument with my neighbor the last few days, and I feel angry and sad about this. And I want to let go of these negative thoughts towards my neighbor so we can have a friendly relationship again. So what I do is I put my hands together into a cup, so it's like a cup that I have in front of my chest. Now when I breathe in through my nose, I'm thinking of that thought or that feeling, that negative emotion or thought that I have, and I spit it into that cup to let it go. So you breathe in, think of that thought or feeling. And out through your lips into that cup. Breathe in and think of it again. Breathe or spit it out into your cup. In. And every time you inhale, you think of what you want to release. And then by exhaling, by breathing out, you release it into your hands, into your cup. 3 more. And then one last time. When at the end of the exhalation, you just let go of the cup and empty it into nothing. And now try and feel what emotion replaces that negative emotion you had. What thought comes at the place of that negative thought you had. Like might be a feeling of joy or relief, and then enjoy that new sensation. That's called the meditation to release unwanted thoughts. And at the end of every yoga session, I haven't showed you that song yet. It's a song called A Long Time Sun, and you can finish any yoga session with that song. It's a beautiful song, and it goes as follows. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on. Can we do it again? May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. And that's it, as easy as that. 3 balloon breaths, your own yoga story, relaxation, for example, the submarine, meditation, get rid of your unwanted thoughts, and then the long time sun to finish with. I'm very curious to hear about your self-created yoga stories, and I hope you have fun. Bye.